Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the all-new 2023 Ram 1500, which actually has some pretty significant changes. Before we get in the video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into it. So first off, we're going to start with the exterior changes, then we're going to pop to the interior, and then we're going to go over the engine options that will be available for the 2023 model year. So first off, in terms of exterior changes, there's not going to be a whole lot for the 2023 model year. We're still going to have the same body style that we've had since 2019, and it sounds like we're also still going to have a classic edition. So if you want to buy a 4th generation Ram 1500, you still can, which is just absolutely crazy. But going back to the 5th generation Ram, which is kind of like the focus of this video, there is going to be a new appearance package, or a rumored appearance package, I should say. That's the quote-unquote TRX appearance package is what I am dubbing it. And basically, they're going to modify the Ram 1500 GT and make it a little bit more aggressive, what it sounds like. So you're still going to have the TRX paddle shifters and the TRX seats, and then the sport exhaust that's in the GT right now, but now it's going to have the TRX performance like hood with the big hood scoop in the center. So it's still not going to have the big fender flares and fenders and, you know, the Bilstein shocks and all that stuff, and obviously the Hellcat engine, right? Because it's going to be regular Ram 1500. But it's going to look a lot more like a TRX. And this is something that Ram's done for a while, and, you know, other brands within the lineup, right? Like Chrysler and Jeep and Dodge, like they're notorious for this, where they'll release a high performance vehicle and then they'll slowly put aesthetic pieces on their not high performance vehicles. And then, you know, they basically just, make a ton of money doing that. And so, yeah, I mean, some of you might be surprised, but I'm not really surprised. I kind of expected this to happen. I bet, you know, in a few years from now, we'll basically have a Ram 1500 wide body that'll look just like a TRX, but it won't be a TRX because, you know, if people are willing to buy it, they will make it pretty much. And it also kind of makes sense because Ram sells about 500,000 trucks a year, roughly. And less than 10% of those are TRXs, and the TRX was a very expensive vehicle to develop, and so they're trying to just get their money's worth right out of all the stuff that they've had to put on that truck, I'm sure. Now, moving on from the exterior to the interior, there's actually going to be some more slight tweaks. So there are some potential new colors for 2023 for the model year. Hasn't been a whole lot released. There's just been people saying that they might do some different interior colors, so I can't really tell you all that much on it. All I know is that the interior is pretty much going to be the same, but you might be able to get different seat options from a color perspective. Now, the big thing to the interior is going to be the dash, because we are now going to get a full digital dash for the 2023 model year, which might make some of you upset because a lot of people really like the fact that Ram has a screen with analog gauge clusters on either side, because it just looks really good, and it kind of is in between, you know, that techie feel, but then also having more of like an analog feel. Whereas Ford and Chevy now have digital dashes, and so everyone's kind of like, oh, well, we like the Ram because it doesn't. Well, yeah, that's not a thing anymore. So yeah, digital dash is going to be available on higher end packages. It sounds like lower end packages like and I'm not saying the Bighorn's low end, but lower end packages like the Bighorn are still going to have an analog dash. You're just going to basically get the digital in, it sounds like Laramie and above, and it might be an option in packages like the Bighorn, and then it'll be like for sure standard and stuff like the Limited, and with stuff like the TRX for the 2023 model year. Other than that, they already updated the infotainment system for the 2022 model year, so they're not going to change anything with that. And they, you know, released the camera mirror for 2021, and so they're not going to change anything with that. And so everything else is pretty much going to stay the same from that perspective. Now, the most interesting part of the video is going to be powertrains. So there's talks of Ram potentially axing the 3.6 liter V6. I personally don't think they're going to do that because it's an inexpensive powertrain, and there's still like a very large group of people that want that inexpensive powertrain in a pickup truck. So I think they're going to keep it, but I think that they're actually going to add some engines to the whole like powertrain list. So V6 is going to be your entry-level powertrain, and then you're going to have the 5.7 liter Hemi e-torque. Again, there has been talks of them potentially getting rid of the regular 5.7 liter Hemi. Right now, if you go on Ram's website to spec out a new Ram 1500, the Hemi and the Hemi e-torque are now the same price. And so it sounds like they're kind of like slowly trying to push people to go into the e-torque version of the Hemi. And so 2023 might be the first year where you cannot get just a regular 5.7 liter V8 Hemi. You have to get it with the e-torque system. But again, that's still kind of up in the air at this point. EcoDiesel is still going to be available as an option as well. And then I've already made a separate video about this, but basically Ram TRX is still going to have the supercharged 6.2 liter V8 for the time being. The exciting thing is we are going to now be getting the Hurricane inline 6 as an option for the Ram 1500. Now, it doesn't sound like we're going to get the high output version just yet. It sounds like we're going to get the lower output version, which is going to be somewhere in like the 400 horsepower range, and then high 400s for the torque. So very similar to the EcoBoost V6 that's in the F-150, and then also the V6 twin turbo that is in the new Toyota Tundra. But I'm really excited about this engine compared to those two because it's an inline 6, and inline 6s are typically more reliable and more robust compared to V6s if they're obviously engineered properly, which I trust Ram with engineering the engine properly, because this can be used across the lineup, not just in Ram's vehicles, but also in Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler as well. But they're not going to like force this onto people. So again, what it sounds like from a powertrain perspective is you're still going to have the V6, which is going to be basically like your no-cost option. And then you're going to have the 5.7 Hemi e-torque, which will still probably be around that like it's like $2,700 in terms of the pricing. Still have the EcoDiesel, which is what, like $4,000 or $5,000 for that engine. And then it sounds like this new Hurricane engine is probably going to be priced pretty similarly to the 5.7 Hemi e-torque to try to get some, convince some people to go over and get that powertrain, because it's, again, going to be priced the same, but it should get better fuel economy compared to the Hemi, and then it'll have more horsepower and more torque compared to the Hemi, because right now the Hemi puts out 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque. The e-torque system adds another 130 pound-feet off the line technically, so the Hemi does have that going for it, but that's just off the line. That's not continuously, once you're up and moving, whereas with the Hurricane engine, that would be the torque figure that it ends up having, whether it's high 400s or low 500s, will be all the time. And so, yeah, for 2023, there are some exciting changes. And so what that means is there is the potential for you to be able to order a Ram 1500 for the 2023 model year that will have a TRX hood, but it won't be a TRX, and it'll have a turbocharged inline 6 under the hood, and then obviously full digital gauge cluster. But the weirdest thing I think is just a turbocharged inline 6 with a TRX hood. And if this appearance package is available on the Rebel, then that'll really like sell it for people, because then you'll basically have what is essentially a truck that looks just like a TRX, but is not a TRX, but again has a turbocharged inline 6, which is interesting to say the least. And on top of that, they're probably going to put that engine in the TRX in the near future. Anyways, I have talked about that as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the changes, and I'll see all of you in the next video.